Much evidence of the double standard. My name is Brenda Weathers, Director of the Alcoholism Program for Women in Los Angeles, and I feel that alcoholism represents one of the major unmet health care needs for women in our society today, particularly gay women. I'm the Director of the Alcoholism Program for Women in Los Angeles, which is a program of the Gay Community Services Center. I think the primary motivating factor for me was my own alcoholism and my own recovering process. And I really agree with B. If I started to think that I was recovered, I could go out after this program and have a couple of martinis, and I know that I can't do that. Alcoholism is no respecter of persons. And we're very quick to point out all the boundaries across which alcoholism cuts, and we can name off geographic location, ethnicity, social class, economic background, national origin, and so forth and so on. But I think in relation to this program, the two things that are generally overlooked in naming off these categories are sex and lifestyle preference. By sex, of course, I mean that I think that alcoholism reaches about half of the alcoholic population in the United States, but half female, half male. And of course, by lifestyle preference, I mean those persons who are gay. Before I get into that, I'd like to say, though, that the problems of gay women and women alcoholics are not really dissimilar from one another in many, many respects. But when we speak of gay women, there are some very specific problems. For instance, when an alcoholic woman who's gay reaches that point in her quest for sobriety or in her bottoming out process when she thinks she will reach out to somebody for help, it's very frightening. It's a very shaky time. And so she reaches out to an agency or to a group. And if in the process of the conversation she happens to say to that person, oh, by the way, I'm gay, at that very, very tender time in her life, the door might be slammed in her face and say, I'm sorry, we can't help you. And she will go on out to drink again and to suffer some more and perhaps to die. And a second thing that happens in agencies, too, with respect to gay women, would be that they would be accepted in for treatment at the agency, and then, but I have to say, accepted almost. And also a time when you need a lot of peer support and a lot of comfort and a lot of love. You're liable to be the one that's kind of, like this. And I think that there's another really particular problem for women in the gay community, and that is that traditionally we have been forced to socialize in a drinking culture, and by that I mean the institution of the gay bar. And so that all the human functions that we need to carry out, like talking with folks, like making friends, like finding lovers, like social events, have all taken place in this particular milieu. And I think that that leads to a greater percentage of alcoholism. It's one of the things that leads to a greater percentage of alcoholism among our community. And then the other end is what I've already described first, is what happens to us once we make that outreach for help in agencies. And the third thing, let me just mention one more thing. In agencies, until we can begin to demystify for agency people, for human beings, what it means to be gay, agencies are liable to want to treat our gayness before they want to treat our alcoholism. Learning to accept who we are as human beings, we're talking about one of the most powerful primary prevention tools that we in the field of alcoholism have in preventing alcoholism and other problems of the society, is to begin to accept us as people, everybody as people, and with our worth and real worth as human beings. I feel that two very important ingredients are a lot of love and helping to instill in the woman a feeling of self-love and self-worth. Then to go on from that, since simply to stop drinking is not enough, you need to learn to live all over again, to present sobriety as a pleasant reality, that life on the natch is fulfilling, it's fun, it's promising, you have an opportunity to become who you always thought you could be, become the person that you'd like to be. And in that way, I think love and self-fulfillment are the two most important ingredients. I think we need to begin to look at our programs, and we need to design programs specific to instilling this feeling. And by that I mean, I think it takes a lot of things to stay sober, including guts. And we need to be involved in consciousness-raising kinds of groups to let us know that we're real as people and it's okay to be whoever we are. Assertiveness training kinds of sessions so that women say what they mean what you say, be yourself, be your own person. Be given opportunities to develop and expand, perhaps in a vocational area, if you've been under-trained or haven't had any skills training at all, to provide that to women so that if either you haven't worked or you've worked in jobs that were, say, boredom or frustration-producing kinds of situations, then provide specific and relevant job training for that to get out and really try to develop and grow as a human being. The Alcoholism Program for Women is a program of comprehensive services for women, including a 13-bed recovery home, including one-to-one counseling and group counseling with particular emphasis on groups is designed specifically for the needs of women. We have job development, we have vocational rehabilitation. We do a lot in educational outreach and trying to get out into the community to talk to other agencies about women in treatment process in their agency. Since we can't operate in a vacuum, we can only do so much. We also try to provide a feeling of community activities as an alternative to bars. I'd like to say also that while our program is a program of the Gay Community Services Center, and one of our specific concerns is the gay woman, all women are welcome to take part in the services of our program.
Are you funded?
Yes, we're funded by the National Institutes of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism.